Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Novawar.
And MaximusBlack.
And we're bringing you another normal game sent in by the fans to www.lag.tv, lag.tv. It's the place to be. Go and join Lag Nation. Hit that button and send us your replays. Because we love your replays, except for the shit ones, which we can ignore those ones, but we like your replays in general. Mr. MaximusBlack.
Yep.
Hit me up with the sound of a Korean zombie. Was your Korean you saying half of Korean in a Asian accent?
It was.
Okay, I thought that's what I was hearing. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't hearing some crazy shit. Up here in the top right, we have Jeff. Hit me up with that Korean name.
Testing.
Great. I'm sure that's exactly what that Hangul says right now. If I sat here for 5 minutes, I'd be able to pronounce that. We're not going to do that. Down here in the bottom left, we have Zombie. Great name. Real creative. I like it. I like it. Nothing wrong about going with just a good old-fashioned zombie. Capitalizing random letters makes it even better. This is a ZVP here on what is quickly becoming one of my favorite maps, as I said before, if only because there is not a single sight tower to be found.
Yeah, there's a couple of maps now with sight towers.
I dig it. I dig that as a thing.
Yeah, I like this map too. Neoplanet S. Good map, good for Protoss on this map. A lot of 2-base all-ins. I've also been noticing a lot of 2-base all-ins for Zerg as well, using a lot of locusts or swarm hosts with, swarm hosts, and obviously locusts because of swarm hosts. But I've been seeing a whole lot of that lately. I've been going up against a whole lot of that lately. Zerg will just sit on 2-base, and will just immediately tech into infestation pit, put a bunch of spine crawlers at the natural to protect himself from any like 2-base all in, and and be at your door with a bunch of swarm hosts.
They've got such a great place to put them, right? Like I'm assuming they're putting them generally down around here somewhere and working their way up, or they're placing them like maybe up in here somewhere and working their way down.
Generally, it's like here.
Yeah.
And then it'll just get closer and closer and closer and closer. I think we've actually casted one game.
We have here
one
on
or
this
two
map.
games, with that. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see it this time around.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. If it's a standardized thing here, I think this is Masters. So maybe that is exactly what we are going to see. For now, though, just got those couple of scouting Zerglings out. Maybe even be lucky enough to get a probe. Maybe not. He's going to see that he is expanding. Going to see that initial transfer.
This is why I like doing my Forge Fast Expand in my Naturals. There are some players that like to put the Forge in. I've noticed Puck has put the Forge in a few times when I've been watching the ladder sessions. And if you're really good, you have really good structure placement, it can work out. But as you can see, there was just a huge gap. And now these 2 lings are only 2 lings, but you've got 4 probes chasing them. And not only that, you can see everything you're doing. He knows there's only 1 gas, which can mean a number of things. It obviously doesn't mean that there's going to be any crazy gas-intensive build coming anytime soon, unless Zombie decides to chuck down a couple of gas at the natural without him knowing, but obviously that's not the case. And like you just said, there's a lot of minerals being wasted.
Oh, yeah.
So, worth.
Oh, absolutely. Those are 2 amazingly cost-effective Zerglings. In the meanwhile, Mr. Zombie does have that single cannon, denying the 3rd expansion here of testing. Last second canceling there, very nice. Gonna get the heck out of there. Good job by the Protoss to shut that down. This was sent in as when cheese fails. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that was the cheese that was supposed to happen.
What, the denial of the 3rd?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've seen a lot of people, even masters, call that cheese and send it into us. And in case you're wondering, guys, no.
It's not cheese.
No, that's called standard. Nothing about that is all in unless you build like 47 cannons and 100 pylons, and that's just stupid. So, no, it is not cheese. It is very standard denial play. Nothing, especially if it's a 3rd.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's not even
I mean,
the natural
a natural
expansion.
can be like, it's still just a denial. It just depends on how far you take it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and
So-
he's just going to take it all the way to the left this time. Going to go all the way top left with that third expansion and place it out there.
I like
Risky
that.
business, but I like it at the same time because, you know, the
Yeah.
odds of the Protoss imagining that he's going to put that way the hell out there, probably not all that high.
No, it's really not that high at all. It's not where you put a proxy pylon. Sometimes, and I mean very few times, a Protoss will put a pylon like here in a corner.
Yes.
But normally, no. They'll start leading pylons over up to the space, and then they'll hit this because it's usually the third, but not in this case. I like this because when Zombie goes to scout here or here, he's going to go, well, Zerg's on 2 base. I'm feeling really confident right now because 2 base versus 2 base usually goes in my favor, unless of course you're going swarm host and it can be sort of a pain in the ass. But the chances of him checking top left probably not too high right away anyway. By the time it's scouted, it might be too late.
Exactly. Now we have a Stargate that just completed. Immediately, 2 Phoenixes being brought in. I'm going to automatically assume that is for some Overlord pickoffs and maybe if he's lucky, a Queen. Right now we have a sentry tickling away at Mr. Overlord here, while we actually have the infestation pit going for Mr. Testing. So as you were saying, swarm hosts, pretty common on this map. We're going to be seeing some swarm hosts, and that's not shocking. However, the Protoss with these Phoenix, with the harassment and stuff, if he doesn't already think that it's going to happen just out of the gate, should be able to catch this before he gets completely overrun.
Yeah, I like the fact that Testing's getting ventral sacks. So I think we're probably going to see some drop play with the swarm host, which would be pretty sexy to see.
Have you run into that on the ladder?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I've run into it. They'll drop. You see where this Overlord is down here in the corner?
Yep.
I like the fact. Look at that. That's a good pylon placement there, starting to put them in the corners. Sometimes they'll just drop in, 2, sometimes 4 swarm hosts and burrow them. And you're going, oh shit, they're immediately at my mineral line. I don't have anything to see these. And by the time you get it, there's already damage dealt. It forces you to pull all your probes to your main or to your natural. And a lot of the cases, there'll be a second batch of swarm hosts on the outside, hitting you from the other side. So it can be very, very hectic for the Protoss or even Terran that's dealing with it. Terran not so much because they have scans, but for a Protoss that's really not ready for it, it can do some damage. Might not kill you, but it'll screw you up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right now, Zombie being a bit of a menace here for the Zerg testing, as he has just, once again, been more kind of wandering the map with his Phoenix, picking off Overlords where he can, going for base. I think he might even have gotten a Queen at one point there as well. He had this Zealot working away at this hatchery, not going to be able to finish that job as a Spine Crawler arrives to ward that off.
Oh,
but here we go. We're starting to see...
host.
We're starting to see Overlords right now, or one Overlord in particular, and a Swarm Host on the ground. Now, getting themselves into position. Where was that free host? Oh, I see what you mean here. In the base with those, another one now going down. Maybe even a, wow.
Gonna lose a Phoenix there. That was kind of sloppy. Just needed to move that Phoenix away. It's gonna get 2 swarm hosts, but here comes the drop at the natural. We've got 2 swarm hosts going down. And they're going to burrow in, and there isn't a single observer. There is one being built now, but how much probe damage is he going to take here? These locusts are just destroy probes so very quickly. Already 9 probes dead, 10 probes, and moving on very quickly. Another drop going into the main, and I think we're probably going to lose another 10 probes here as well. And that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when the Zerg is on 4 base and the pressure is at the Protoss base, allowing the Zerg to either A, drone heavier, or just start teching, that is damage in itself.
Oh, 100%. The Void Ray, we're now just finishing off that single Swarm Host that was sitting outside of the natural, kind of the initial draw of the attention away from that natural to allow him to get in there and do that damage. I think he's had another one here at the third. He's cleaned that up. He's still attacking here with a single Swarm Host in the main, now working away at that Nexus, getting rid of pretty much every single worker that comes out of that Nexus. As well, we have still one more now down behind those 2 pylons, working away at the mineral line of the natural continuously, while yet another gets placed out. It's going to be taken out immediately, thanks to that observer and that Void Ray. But this is just constant pressure from the Zerg, and like you were saying, it doesn't look like a lot up front, But over time, with the Protoss' attention so hung up on these swarm hosts, and with the lack of resources that he's now able to get out of both of these, or all of these bases really, he's pretty much in a GG scenario.
It hurts him really, really badly. He's going to lose his third here from just these locusts, and he's already lost 47 probes in total. And it's just rising. Now we're at 50, 51 probes.
It's
just going up and up and up, and now Zerg is on 5 base. Zerg, though, still at a really low supply count, only 128 to the 84. You'd think he'd have a lot more supply at this point. He isn't hitting his injects back at base. He's very, very focused on this play here at the main and natural, which I think, you know, the damage has been dealt. So just go and do something else at this point. I mean, hell, you've killed 51 probes. You've gotten rid of a third. Time to get some supply, and that's exactly what he's doing now, going right up to 144 supply. And I'm sure he's going to be maxed out any minute. Should be any second, really. And then it'll be a GG after a big push, because Zombie literally has nothing. All he has is 3 Stalkers, 3 Void Rays, 3 Phoenix, and a couple Zealots. I mean, you're dead.
That's it. No, that's it. No, there is no hope, and he's even brought in some Zerglings now. I think he's just focusing on Zerglings and Swarm Host now to just basically overrun and kill his opponent, which is smart. You know, maybe there's a time and a place to do more than that, but right now he knows that it's working for him. In any other game, you know, where we can't see everything and where he can't necessarily also see everything that's going on, he might want to be a little bit more on the careful side. I like this play up top with the Warp Prism, now just bringing a cannon into that just to get some, just to draw something, some attention away. To try and relieve the pressure. I don't think it's going to be enough. Mind you, the Zerg still has a bit of a painful entrance into this with the Stalkers, the Void Rays and whatnot, and the Phoenix up front. He's not going to be able to just waltz in with, the Swarm Host, but he's still picking away here at the tech structures and such in the main. And the Protoss is going to have to decide whether or not he wants to go and actually do more damage to the Zerg or just keep trying to defend. But honestly, Mr. Black, at this point, I don't think he has any other option but to lose.
Yeah. There's just too many bases. You can just remax so quickly. It was a cute little attack Zombie did up here at the third base.
Yeah.
You know, with the repowering the cannon with the Warp Prism and just doing a small Zealot drop. It was cute. Got rid of a couple of drones, but at the end of the day, it really didn't do anything. He's now going to lose that Warp Prism. The few Zealots that he warped in are about to die, and I mean that was lackluster. It didn't. It just prolongs the inevitable death.
Well, I'll give him style points.
I give him style points.
I'll give him style points.
He's got quite a bit of Void Rays here. I mean, considering he's only got testing's only got Swarm Hosts.
Can I say, yeah, considering the unit composition with the number of Void Rays on the field and then have been on the field over the course of this, that I'm surprised he didn't go and just wage war on hatcheries and maybe even the infestation pit. You know, get rid of that. Anything. Yeah. He had air superiority. He had the opportunity for a long time to accomplish that and didn't, unfortunately. And there it is.
Yep.
GG. Nothing but dropped in Swarm Host. Take that game for Mr. Testing, the Korean Wonder. But yeah, that's... Hey, like I said, style points at least for Mr. Zombie on that that quasi counterattack. Unfortunately, not quite enough. Testing takes that game with dropped Swarm Hosts. Which I personally never saw until this game. I just saw, you know, Silver League players mass Swarm Host, put it at the front of a base and own with it. But apparently this works too.
Swarm Hosts are just good, period. I'm not even going to get into a rant about Swarm Hosts. I'm not a big fan of Swarm Hosts. In my opinion, they're just making up for the fact that Broodlords are pretty much useless in Heart of the Swarm. It's just another Broodlord, in my opinion, a faster, cheaper, quicker Broodlord. So... I don't know. I haven't really. I mean, I've seen Protoss players and Terran players defeat those Swarm Hosts, but I still feel the amount of work that you have to do in order to defeat them, and then still macro heavy, is much more than what they have to do just to have them. And it just doesn't, in my opinion. Once again, I'm biased. I'm a Protoss player. In my opinion, all you need to do is just make them, burrow them, and then you can just macro like crazy. You don't even have to look at them. And as the Protoss. Even the Terran, you really have to micro, make sure you're not losing certain units. and try not to do too much tech because you'll put yourself behind even if you kill the swarm host. So it's just one of those things where it's a beautiful thing to see them lose to it, but it's an irritating thing to watch them win with it. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I follow. I mean, I don't play the game, but in my opinion, they seem to be too cheap for what they can accomplish and how much time you, like you were saying, you have to spend with them to actually accomplish the damage output to make them worth it. I think they're just on the cheap side, a little too easy to get, a little too easy to use for what they can accomplish. So we won't go any further than that. In this game, all that matters is that testing one with them. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Novawar.
And MaximusBlack.
We'll see you guys next time.